this is extremely important. All right, it is a valuable lesson that you're gonna want to understand in the very beginning of why you do what you do. Okay, why we do what we do. I want to change this part. Okay, we'll leave it the same. That's fine. All right, and so, and that's why the title of the slide, the one that's on your left, is why you're here. Right? Why do you do what you do? And I want to preface this training by a post that I made on my Facebook page, maybe about 3 days ago. All right. So if you're friends and we're friends, you probably saw me do a post where I shared a screenshot of a deposit that I get on a monthly basis from my very first company in network marketing, right? And that was, I started 21 years ago, March the 10th, 2002, okay? And the business that I built, I was there for 12 years. The business that I built still pays me today. The customers that I onboarded and the team that I built are still there, right? Some of them, they're still there, and it still pays me every single month today. So I shared the screenshot of my deposit that I got, because even after 21 years, I'm surprised every single month when I get that deposit. And the reason I'm surprised is because we all are in this industry for leverage. We're in the industry for leverage because we talk about Dr. Robert Kiyosaki, the right side of the quadrant, leveraging your network and leveraging money. It's all about leverage. You're either leveraging people or you're leveraging money. However, it is a far cry in this space, unfortunately, to really find companies that's going to even be here long enough to pay you your residuals. I want you to think about that. And a lot of times, you know, the seasoned networkers or people that have been around for a while, they may laugh at the Amways of the world, or they may laugh at the, you know, the Melaleucas of the world. They may laugh at the, you know, those type of companies that have been around for decades. But here's one thing for sure, you know, they still here, right? They're still here. And so and the reality is, if we're selling the vision that we're going to put in some hard work for 18 months, 36 months, 5 years, or whatever the time frame may be, with the intent to make a residual income that you can ultimately walk away from, then the company has to be in business in order for that to take place. They have to be in business in order for that to take place, which is why I'm so excited about the iGenius model, because the iGenius model is the exact same model as the company I was in when I first started 21 years ago, right? That company was a privately held company, and then they went public. Well, guess what? iGenius, for the better part of the first 2013 to 2017, was privately held. And then they had their parent company go public, right? And so I've seen this picture before, is my point. Okay, I've seen this picture before. And so what we want to do is understand why we're here, so we can embark upon this journey of what I like to refer to as a compensation plan based off personal development. That's what we're doing. We're embarking upon a journey of a compensation plan that's based off personal development. And I want you to write this down, right? And this is my, what I call time versus money conversation. Okay. How is it possible that 21 years I can still get paid for something I did 2 decades ago? 2 decades ago. Okay. And it's because of this time versus money concept and leverage it. All right. So let's take a look at what we're doing. On the right-hand side, you'll see where it says you times 5 hours. What are we saying? Hey, listen, we're not here to dangle a proverbial carrot in front of you to say, you're going to get something for nothing. That's not the conversation we're having. Like, I believe we're having a right conversation with people that if you want to get something out of this industry, you're going to have to put something in. All right. You're going to have to put something in. Okay. And so nobody here is going to play the victim, right? Because it's easy to be cold in Cleveland and say, hey, give me more heat to the fireplace. But it doesn't work if you don't put more wood in, right? So you're not going to get something for nothing. And so in the very beginning, it's just you. It's you starting out looking to overcome whatever challenges you may have in this particular space, whether it's talking to people, whether it's, your personal brand, whether it's, training, whether it's, maybe your vernacular, whatever it may be, it's just you. And so your goal is to, at least at a bare minimum, you got to commit to at least 5 hours towards your business at a bare minimum. Okay, this is the floor, at least 5 hours. Those 5 hours can include 1 hour with your team call a week, right? You can include 1 hour with your business overview, right? On Tuesdays that we have, or Thursday if it's Smart Finance. It may include, 1 hour making phone calls on the weekend to your prospects. Listen, 5 hours go by really fast. It goes by really fast, but it's the minimum commitment you're going to need to be successful. Period. So at the beginning of the week, your first objective is to identify, what is my commitment on a minimum basis for this week? Where's my 5 hours going to go? Okay, I got the team call at 8. All right, I got the Tuesday or Thursday presentation. I'm going to do a follow-up calls on my lunch break on Wednesday, right? You need to identify that at the beginning of the week. So you're not trying to figure out what to do each and every day. You have a schedule. You have a schedule, okay? Just like you know exactly what time you want to go to work. You know exactly what time typically you take a lunch break. You know what time you come back. You know what time you get off. Well, guess what? If you're the CEO and you're building your business, then you need to create a schedule for yourself as you build your business. You can't just happenstance build a business. It doesn't happen by mistake. It happens by design. It happens by design. You are designing your future. Okay? And it starts with you. So you got to say, okay, here's my 5 hours. My minimum commitment to myself is at least 5 hours to my business. All right. And maybe another 30 minutes of that 5 hours, or maybe another hour of that 5 hours is going to be on self-development, whether it's listening to an audio, whether it's jumping on the ladies call on Monday, whether it's talking to your sponsor to getting some coaching, right? It's a minimum commitment to yourself is at least 5 hours. You're not going to have success without it. I promise you. And I don't make a lot of promises, but I do know that if you're not committed to at least 5 hours minimum towards your development, you're not going to have success. It's just not going to happen. All right. So that's your first commitment. Where's my first 5 hours going to go this week? And put it on your schedule. Put it on your calendar and don't miss. Right. We can't expect prospects to show up for things that we have and we don't show up for ourselves. And you're the CEO. Right. So the first thing to identify is, where do my 5 hours go? And now one level down from that is that at some point, you're going to start to attract your tribe. You're going to start to attract people that are looking for what you're looking. And you're going to build a community of like-minded people. And that's the beautiful thing about team building, right? Some people don't like the part about network marketing. Listen, man, I love the part about network marketing because I like people sometimes. But I like team building. Okay. I like to see the growth and the development of people. I like to see people go through the discovery phase when they're new and they're just crawling and they're trying to figure out how to stand, and now they're standing and they're trying to figure out how to walk, and now they're walking and they're trying to figure out how to run, and now they're running and they're trying to figure out how to jump. Like, I love seeing that process. Sometimes it takes months, sometimes it takes years, but I love seeing that process. And so you're going to start to attract your tribe. And now the same commitment that you've made to yourself is the same commitment you're going to ask them to make to themselves. So you're going to say, listen, hey, listen, you got to at least put 5 hours in at a bare minimum, preferably 10 to 15, but at a bare minimum, here's your 5 hours. Let's see where your commitment is. And you should be, number one, remember I always say this in my presentation, you should be guiding them to the source of their own power, because they don't know what they don't know. They're just getting started. They have no idea on what to expect. They're nervous, they're scared, they're intimidated, they don't know. So you have to guide them. So you got to say, listen, if your first 5 hours, I'm going to suggest you be on Sunday's night, 8 o'clock momentum call. Okay, great. Hey, listen, if you're going to start with iGenius or you're going to start with Smart Finance, that you got to have a game night. You got to have a game night where you're inviting people, whether it's Tuesdays or Thursdays. You got to have a game night. So let's put that on your schedule. You follow? Hey, you got to have a coaching and mentoring time. So we're going to touch bases. You got to have a time, right? So you're guiding them to the source of their own power as a part of that commitment. And so the goal is to, as fast as possible, identify 5 people who are going to go where you go. Write this down. You want to identify 5 people who are going to go where you go, do what you do, say what you say, and read what you read. Those are the 4 things you're looking for in people. That's all you're looking for. You want to look for 5 people that's going to go where you go, say what you say, read what you read, and do what you do. That's all you need. If you can find 5 people, then the first level of duplication takes place. They're going to go where you go. Hey, where we're going? Hey, man, we're going to the Summer Symposium. I'm in. Hey, man, we're going to the North American Kickoff event. I'm in, right? They're willing to make the sacrifice. Number 2, they're going to read what you read, meaning they're going to go through the same personal development, right? The same personal development that you're going through. They're going to listen. They're in. They want to grow. They want to be different. They want this year to be different than last year. They want next year to be different than this year. So they're willing to grow with you. They're willing to grow with you. I like the comments. If you're in, let me pause. Let me pig gear the training right quick. If you're in, let me see I'm in the comments real quick. That was kind of organic. I appreciate that. If you're in, let me see you in the comments. Okay. Go where you go, read what you read, do what you do. Here's what I mean by do what you do. No, we're not expecting you to sound like Nate Garrett, sound like Angela Harrell, sound like Debbie Mendenfield, sound like Johnny Gaskins, sound like Rhonda Wise. We're not expecting you to sound like them. No, here's what we want you to be. Write this down in your notes. We want you to be a carbon copy of our systems, but a design original of yourself. We want you to be a carbon copy of our systems, but a design original of yourself. We don't want you to be the next Noble Mike Jamison. No, we want you to be the next you, but follow the systems and philosophies that we believe in, which you can find on the website, by the way. So we want you to be a designer original of yourself, but a carbon copy of our systems. That's what we mean when we say do what we do. Go where we go, read where we read, do what we do, and say what we say. You know what I mean? Say what we say. All right. And we talk about the elite principles and things of that nature. It's important. And so what happens is that once you get that buy-in from at least 5 people, you're still committing just to 5. So maybe let's just say it's you plus the 5. Now, each of those 5 people are committing that same minimum of 5 hours a week towards their business. So that's your 5 hours plus their 5 times 5, that's 25 hours. So now in 1 week, you got 25 hours of work being done towards the growth and development of your enterprise. And you only have a team of 5, you plus 5. Isn't that amazing? It's almost like a part-time job. It's 30 hours. 30 hours is committed towards the development of your enterprise, and you just got a team of 5. See, people think you got to have 1,000 people to have success. You don't. You don't. You just need a small army. You need a small volunteer army to win at this. And then when it duplicates one more time, watch this. When that 5 get their 5, amazing things happen. Watch this. Amazing things happen because now you got a team of 25. They're all putting in a minimum of 5 hours, some of them more, some of them less. But let's round it out and say you got 125 hours committed towards the growth of your enterprise. That's 125 hours. That totals up to, listen to this, 155 hours per week towards the growth of your enterprise with a team of 25. Listen, I don't care who you are. You're not going to work 155 hours a week. You're not going to do it, right? Yes, you may work 40, you may work 50, you may work 80, but you're not going to work 155 hours in a week. This is leverage. This is why you do what you do. This is why you persevere through the challenges. This is why you learn the skills that you need to be successful. This is why you get on the trainings. This is why you get on the conference calls. This is why you cry to yourself when you fail. This is why you get up again to try to do it better, because you want to make more money than there are hours in the week. Listen to me. You want to put yourself in position to make more money than there are hours in the week, right? You want to flip the paradigm. And the only way that you can put yourself in position to make more money than there are hours in the week is through leverage. It's the only way. It's through leverage. You're going to leverage the network or you're going to leverage money. It's the only way. So what we're doing here with time versus money is, if you look at this diagram, you'll see the left side says time, the right side says money, and it's divided into 5 slices. And I'm going to explain to you what these slices mean. Okay. The first slice, it doesn't necessarily mean years. It doesn't necessarily mean months. It doesn't necessarily mean weeks. What it means is, if you notice that the first slice, the darker portion of the slice is time, and the lighter portion is money. We're looking at the very first slice. So what is it saying? In the very beginning, you're going to commit more time to this process than you are going to have money that's earned. That's all it means. That in the beginning, it's new. In the beginning, you're trying to figure it out. In the beginning, you're not going to be getting paid for as much time as it is that you're putting in. That's the bottom line. So yes, the conference calls, yes, the trainings, yes, the conferences, you're going to be investing more time than it is money that you're making. So we want to set the expectation right now. You're not going to come in and automatically be profitable on week 1, month 3. No, the first thing is the commitment to the time. Right? That's what that first vertical says. The first slice says, man, in the beginning, I got to get in here and learn this bad baby. I got to learn what's going on. So I may not be making the money I want to make right now, but the first part of this is the learning process. And I always share the story. In my first company, the one that I shared the screenshot on my timeline, ladies and gentlemen, I joined on March the 10th, 2002. And I didn't hit the top of that company as an executive director until July of 2003. Think about that. I joined in March of 2002. I didn't hit the top of the company until the following year in July. I hit it in June to be recognized in July. So in other words, it almost took me a year and a half to figure out what the hell is going on. And I showed up to everything, every conference call, every meeting, every conference. I was there. I just didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what I didn't know. But after about a year and a half, the light bulb went off and I figured it out. And I said, I got it. I know why we do 3 ways. I know why we do a presentation. I know why we do trainings. I know why we do conference calls. I know why I go to conference. I got it. It took me a year and a half to figure that out, right? But I was on the inside discovering that self. I was on the inside going through personal development, right? You're not going to take an engineer, a person who's used to working 10 hours, 12 hours a day, writing computer code, and then put him in front of 1,000 people and think he's going to win. No, it took a year and a half to become that person. You follow? And so in the beginning, don't beat yourself up so hard if you are just right now spending time becoming. Right now, you're spending time becoming. The money will catch up to you, right? And if you look at the second slice, if you are actively engaged in the process of becoming, the second slice it will take you less time and the money will increase. That's what that second vertical means. In other words, when I say less time, now it doesn't take you an hour to do a presentation. It takes you 30 minutes because you know your information. Now it doesn't take you an hour to train a new representative what to do because you know your information. It takes you 30 minutes. So now it's less time committed and your money starts to increase because you've duplicated one time, you've duplicated 2 times, and you've gone from 10 hours to 15 hours committed to your enterprise. You've gone from 15 hours to 30 hours committed towards your enterprise. So it takes you less time, but the money increases. That's key. And then you look at the third slice, it takes you even less time now. The money's starting to grow and it's even less time now because now people are starting to do what you do. Instead of you having to train every single person that joins the enterprise, you don't have to train every single person that joins the enterprise because now you have trainers. You've trained the trainers. And so now you can sit back and Angela runs to place your first trade call. You can sit back and Nate does a power training. You can sit back and not do anything, but this is figuratively speaking. Johnny does a market update, but before them is you, right? Before that, it is you, right? So before we had other market experts, I was getting up, for those who don't know, sending out trade alerts to the AMG network for a year and a half because we only got one trade alert from the company at the time. I want you to put this in perspective. We're talking about time versus money. I didn't go join another company because iGenius didn't give a bunch of trade alerts. No, I said, listen, they're not ready yet. And it's okay. I'll fill in the gap. It's my business. So I'll get up 4:30 a.m., send out 5 to 6 trade alerts every day, Monday through Friday for the team, so we can stay put and hold the line until the company catches up. I did it for a year and a half of my time. And now the company catches up, and now I got that time back. So when you see the time starts to decrease, that's what it means. You're not going to be doing the same thing you did last year. If you are, then you're not getting better. If you are, then you're not evolving. Right? So that's why that third slice is a little bit less in time, and the money starts to increase. The duplication starts to happen. You've trained the trainers, and now they're doing what you're doing. It's amazing how this works. And then you can go to the 4th slice and the 5th slice. You can see that the 5th slice, you're committing very little time, nowhere near the time that you was committing in the very beginning. Very little time, not doing the same things you were doing in the very beginning. Some of the same things, but not all of the same things. But you're making so much more money now. You're making so much more money now, committing nowhere near the time that you were committing in phase 1 in the very beginning, right? And ultimately what you want to have happen is that in the beginning, you will do things that you don't get paid for. Write that down. In the beginning, you will do things that you don't get paid for. Johnny doesn't get paid. Debbie doesn't get paid. Angela doesn't get paid. Nate doesn't get paid. Rhonda doesn't get paid. They do this on a voluntary basis. In the beginning, you will do things that you don't get paid to do. It's part of what we do, right? But in the end, you will get paid for things that you're no longer doing. It works that way. In the beginning, you will do things that you don't get paid to do. But in the end, you'll get paid for things that you are no longer doing. It's the way that it is. But if you don't start with that understanding in the beginning, you will come into this environment selfishly, and you won't think and realize why you're not winning, because you're not willing to do the things that you don't get paid for in the beginning. So it's impossible for you to get paid for things that you're no longer doing because you didn't do it in the beginning. You didn't learn it in the beginning. You didn't understand it in the beginning. And part of that process is growth, is that you have to do those things in order to get paid for them in the end. It works the same way in corporate America. Listen, I took an internship when I was in college to be an engineer, and I didn't get paid for the internship, but the knowledge I gained was irreplaceable as a freshman in college. I took a low-paying job my sophomore year in college, working for IBM, working on artificial intelligence in 1998. making $12 an hour working for IBM as a sophomore in college. It wasn't a lot of money, but the knowledge I gained was irreplaceable. So when you hear me talk about getting out of college at the age of 21, making $50,000 a year, is not because, it was only because I had 4 years of experience in the field before I even graduated college. It works the same way. In the beginning, you're gonna do things that you don't get paid for, but in the end, you'll get paid for things that you're no longer doing. And you gotta understand that it is time versus money. And you're gonna decide what this process looks like. Am I gonna be actively engaged in this process for 1 month and quit? You didn't even get out the first vertical here. You didn't even give yourself a chance. You didn't give yourself a chance. You follow? And this is why I'm excited about what we do, right? This is why I'm excited about what we do, because I know the impact of your life when you decide to commit to what we're doing, right? To commit to what we're doing. Okay, so do me a favor. We're gonna pause the recording right here. Drop some fire in the chat.